Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Teri at Holding Your Space, and I'm here with my good friend, Juno Sphere. Hey, Juno.
Hey, Teri. Thanks for inviting me on today on 888 Lions Gate
I
Portal
know.
Day.
So much fun. So much fun. It's such an exciting day. We were just talking about it. It might feel like things are a little bit off today, you guys. It's just the new energy. We just need to get caught up to it. So might be a little flummoxed. But yeah, so how you doing, Juno?
I'm doing pretty well. Excited to be here. And it just, I'm not one who likes to delve into like the muddy part of politics, but I'm really having fun looking at political figures and applying this new tarot mandala constellation process that I've learned for reading. It combines numerology and astrology and tarot, and it's really been fascinating. And it's made me just want to jump for joy when I've read about Kamala. Oh, here we go again, Kamala. And you always think you got it in your head.
I know, right?
And Tim. So I wanted to share that. I'm really excited to share it with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to do it with you.
Yeah, and I just want to say, Juno did a reading for me, spot on, spot on, so funny, and I was just like, okay, that's amazing. Let's get this out here because I always love it when people change the rules. Like we're supposed to do this reading or that reading or that reading, and when people are creating, I feel like everybody's doing that right now. We're kind of creating new rules. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a new dimension, it's a new frequency, and everything's changing. So the readings are going to change.
Yeah. And what's cool about these is this is all done with numerology. This is not an intuitive read. I mean, your interpretation part when you want to read about the cards that's intuitive there, but the actual cards that are laid out for your life, those come in just like your astrology chart. And it
Yeah.
also relates to the tarot cards. And it's really fun to look at the tarot cards as beings, as 22 different entities or beings or characters. One time when I was in a shamanic journey class, I was in a setting like you would imagine that you would see leprechauns and fairies, forest and all the little nooks and crannies and everything. But I didn't see them. The tarot card characters came to life and started walking around and interacting with me. And that was like, oh, they are more alive than a two-dimensional thing on a piece of paper. So
Well, and you're so gifted with tarot too. Do you say tarot or tarot? How do you do it?
It depends. Tomato,
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 tomato.
tarot,
Yeah.
tarot, tarot.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say hi to a few people. Hi, Chris MK. I'm so glad you're here. Teresa Levine. Hello, beautiful. And Ness, groovy image, right? Yeah, I was sweating that because Juno is the artiste. So I was
No.
really trying. Really, really trying. Teresa Ford, hello. Sharon Donnelly is driving. So
Ooh, be careful.
yeah,
Eyes
yeah,
on the road, hands on the wheel.
yeah. I love this. Teresa's already calling Uncle Tim Funkle Tim
Oh,
for fun
I
uncle.
love it.
Here's Sonia. She's got a beautiful channel, Heavenly Blessed
Yes.
Honey. Hello, beautiful. What did she say? They can't go through him or around him. He has the best stance. He has his back against the waltz. Vance
Oh,
has no
there you
chance.
go.
I love that, honey. Yeah. Hi, Judy. Lots and lots of people here. I won't have a chance to say hi to everybody individually, but know that you are cherished and we're just thrilled that you're here. So
Definitely.
I'm going to do just a little bit about what I do and and
Mhm.
and do what I just went into his energy this morning and I do heart-centered remote viewing. So I just go in and read his energy and kind of what I had gotten out of it. And then we're going to go and see how it works with what Juno's doing and go into that slideshow. So I kind of went in like a few days ago and got a few things too. And it felt like, remember Bob Barker and The
Mhm.
Price is Right?
My
Well, it's
mother had
like,
the biggest crush on him.
oh my God.
And my
You know
mother
what?
wasn't one to have a crush on anyone, but she had a big crush on Bob Barker.
That's hilarious. So I felt like he was saying, Tim Walz, come on down, and everybody was
Yeah,
applauding.
come
Like
on
he was
down.
walking, and but it was the spirit tribe that was there applauding, and like people that had been in government before, like the founding fathers and people like that. It was people that really had something to say and guardians of the country.
Mhm.
So that was really interesting. Um, he's a little surprised that the minions have already started coming in. And those little yellow
I
people and
love the
green people?
minions.
The minions are already around him and
Yeah.
already around his family. And he was like, oh, minions, kind of jumping like they're kind of surprised him a little bit. So his tribe and the tribe of the country are on both sides bringing in. Um, there might be a little hitch coming in. Something might come in. It's not a big thing. It's someone coming in from his past, and they're going to be moving the truth around. So if this happens, I'll check first. I'll star some stuff. Sorry, Carl. Just a minute. And so when this happens, just recognize it. Somebody might be moving some truth around and trying to start something, but don't worry about it. It's going to move on past. He has a really good heart. His marriage has a lot of sparkles around it, and I really like her energy too. She's
Mhm.
beautiful. Um, and he has friends around him. Like he has community, and I feel like he has people from when he grew up. He has a solid foundation around him. Like they're showing me like rock. You know,
Yeah.
he's the rock. They're the rock. Um, he's very connected. He might look like he has very simple ways, but I think he's going to kind of surprise us with his depth of purpose and spirituality. Sometimes we think we see people from the country coming in, and perhaps they haven't been very worldly, even though he's been a governor for years. Um, he has hidden depths. It's going to be very impressive. So don't let his simple ways surprise you. He doesn't like a lot of pomp. He's going to be dressing down. He's going to be more casual and more approachable to the young people. And part of this is because of not just how he dresses, but that he was a teacher for so long.
Mhm. And
And
a
he can,
coach too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he can address people, and they can feel his energy, and it's a
Me-
little easier for
Meeting
people.
people at their level, meeting people where they're at is really
Exactly.
important.
Very, very approachable. Um, he's a little worried about one of his children. I won't say which one, but that's going to come through. Like, how is this going to affect them? Like we all would be, right?
Mhm.
Well, I want to do it. I think it's exciting, and I think the whole family is excited about it. She's going to, oh, whoops, they're going to pull through. So, new life coming in, beautiful yellow and golden light all around them. They're going to have fun with it and be serious. So they're going to be able to go in with the pomp and the circumstance. This kind of reminds me of the Obamas. Like they came in with young kids and they really had fun with it.
Mhm.
They had exciting people in and did stuff. And then we had, T, and then we had Joe and Jill, which they're exciting, but they're a little older and maybe not having as much fun or whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, so it's going to be an exciting time. There's going to be a lot of fun coming in with it. Um, okay. Joe and Jill are ready to fly off.
Mhm.
Um, they're going to be like the Carters. They're
I see that too. I think that's an excellent observation.
Yeah, they have their mission plan. So they really do. He'll always have his finger in something, Joe.
Yeah.
So he's a doer. I mean, he's always making phone calls to people and getting stuff done. So he is still going to be there and working. So okay, that's it. That's my spiel, and we're here for you, Juno. So
Well,
let's
that all
see how
sounded
that
like great
works.
news, I mean, and I can understand his children. I thought about that, that's a lot of responsibility on your children, and other family members, because you're putting everybody in the spotlight, but they seem like a really strong family. And you know what? He's already been in politics. They've already had to do that to some degree anyway.
Right. And I feel like,
Elevator.
yeah, Ness says, I'm so happy Biden can enjoy his next year's not so stressed. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this was, in the big picture, I think this was best for everybody, you know. And Biden was able to go out on his terms, his choice, and he looks like a hero for doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think things all work out the way they should. I just want to mention, it's really hard. I have limited vision, eyesight. It's really hard for me to see the chat because I'm on a laptop. Sometimes I can read it and sometimes I can't. So I'm not ignoring anybody or blowing anybody off. I just can't always follow it. So just so everybody knows. Blind as a bat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is kind of hard sometimes.
I still haven't got I got a nice big monitor, but I haven't been able to get it to work with my camera. It makes my camera glitch, and I've been trying solution after solution, and it's still not there. So that's what's kind of holding me back from doing the things I really want to do. But, you know, in the meantime, I'm doing things the best I can to keep things rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing great.
Oh, thanks.
I love what Ma said, Ma D.
Exactly.
Two well-rounded, highly accomplished people running the country. I'm
Absolutely.
in. Amen.
And people, normal people,
Yeah.
people that if you ran into them, your stomach wouldn't churn. You know?
Yeah. And it does change your it's kind of like winning the lottery in a way, isn't it? Like it does change your family for generations. So it has to be on your life purpose. It has to be part of it. Yeah. Not so ego-based, right, Ness? Yeah. Yeah. It's more the joy. Yeah, definitely, Ness. Okay. So are you ready?
I'm ready. This is the iceberg. What it's like if you do these readings with me. It's like 111 day show. But because we're talking about numbers and stuff, I find putting in pictures makes it easy to comprehend. So we're not going to do 111 today. We're only going to do a handful.
Okay.
Reading, they get the full 111, and then I record the reading on Zoom. So you will get the slideshow emailed to you, and you will also get your recording. Because of the recording, you get the other.
Do you know you're jumbled up?
Okay.
You're you're a little bit.
You went in and out, and I went in and like the whole picture did.
Yeah, they can hear me. They can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Your picture isn't moving with that, but that's okay.
You want me to go out and come back in?
That might be a good idea. Yeah, try that. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Teresa Ford saying, Mercury, stop that. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Hi, three shifting veils. And Ness. Yeah. We'll get it going on. Okay. Anyway, so I hope everybody's having a good 888. It's a fun Lionsgate today. There we are. Perfect.
Is that better?
So much better. Yeah.
Yeah, you went away, and then I went away, and then you went away, and then but I couldn't hear anything. I mean, I couldn't hear the problem. So thank you. Let me know if we're all good.
Yeah. Ness says they lost you for a bit. So okay, here we go.
So let me just start that kind of at the beginning to, but so I just want to let everybody know this is just a short version. There's just a handful of slides, but if you wanted to get a full reading from me, it would be about 111 slide presentation, which I send that to you, and I also send you a recording of the Zoom reading because there's things that I say that are not in the slides, so you get both things for the package. But anyway, and then I also am creating a tarot mandala. It's just a visual. It's not like I crochet it, obviously, but it'll be a mandala of your cards. So and it's like a constellation that you will have. So that's another thing that comes with the reading, if you like. So anyway, we're gonna. If Teri wants to pull up the slideshow,
I will.
So this is your first page, and I just love scrolls. I guess it's all my scribe years, lifetimes. Love scrolls. So this is a personal tarot mandala for Tim Walz. And you can go to the next slide if you like, please.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how I arrived at what Tim's personality and soul cards are. They're determined by your birth date. Okay. And then I also do another one towards the end that I'll talk about that's done by his name. So in order to come up with your personality card, you add the month you were born, and he was born in April, so that's 4. The day he was born was the 6th, and the year he was born was 1964, and that totals 1974. Now, because his cards add up to a number that's less than 10, is that right? It's a single-digit number. His soul card is the same. If someone had, say, the 14 for the temperance card, their soul card would be the 5, the Hierophant. Okay, I know that's a little out, but just so you guys understand it, sometimes your soul card is different from your personality card, and sometimes it's the same. If it's the same, that's just double the, bang for your buck, so to speak. Double the influence of this card's energy on this person. So we can go to the next slide and see, drum roll please. It adds up to the Empress card, number 3, and that his personality and soul card. And what beautiful energy to have come in. Kamala is 5, the Hierophant. So she's like, there we go, perfect. She's the government. Thank you, Teri. She's, that the Hierophant is the government and the higher spiritual order and things like that. And I did a show with Valerie Bradshaw last week, I think it was, I did this for Kamala, the same process. So if you want to see what I said, what we found out about her, you can go back and watch that video also. And I think that's on both our channels. Yeah, she's the 5, the Hierophant.
Ah.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk more about her relationship with America and everything after we do Tim's part, but it's really interesting. So the principle of the Empress is the principle of love and creative imagination. The astrological correspondence is Venus, and you can see that heart there on the shield that's sitting, kind of at her feet there. That symbol is the Venus symbol. So this card functions within Tim's constellation as personal love and giving birth to body. So just think about that. He embodies himself. He comes across as very grounded, very within him. I think he's comfortable with his feminine side and his masculine side. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so, compassionate and open and loving. So that's at least my opinion. The key words for the Empress are creativity, nurturance, sacrifice, surrender, relatedness, and imagination. And aren't those nice things to think about with the vice president in mind?
Yeah.
So the Empress is related to the goddess Demeter, or some people say Demeter, and Ceres, Ceres, bountiful, fertile, growth, and producing. So she represents the union of the magician and the high priestess. So as you go through the tarot, you start out with 0 as the Fool, and 1 is the magician, and then moves into the high priestess. So now the Empress combines the magician and the high priestess. So the Empress is pregnant with a totally new being that is something more than the sum of the parts. And I just think that this so totally describes him. He's, look at all the things he's accomplished in his life, He provides a nurturing environment for the growth and well-being of those around him. And I think we've seen that. I mean, those pictures of him with those little girls hugging him, and, just the joy on people's, and it's not phony, it's not paid for joy. It's genuine loving and appreciation for this man. He seeks to connect opposites, all opposites, it says. And what a great thing, because isn't that what we need? We are so divided and at polar opposites on so many things. And how great that is like one of his main features. And I know when I read on Kamala, one of the big things about the Hierophant is that's a bridge. So we've got a bridge to connect all opposites between the two of these amazing people. He banishes disharmony. Well, the Empress, I'm saying, when I'm using those interchangeably here. And the Empress's power comes from love. She rules through understanding the needs of others. how nice to have somebody who's looking after what somebody else needs. I love how he focuses on, I grew up in a small community, and we helped our neighbors. And, he doesn't say we called our neighbors names. We helped each other. And feeding others is really important to the Empress. What did he do with providing, I think I heard breakfast and lunch for all school kids. Not if you're poor, not if you're this, if you're that, all school kids.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it? Because some kids, then you have to prove it to people, and that's embarrassing.
It is. It is. Yeah. And I just think it's just amazing that it's right here in his cards. So he's drawn to coaching or mentoring, bingo, right? And helping them through their creative projects to life. Let me read that again. Drawn to coaching or mentoring others and helping them bring their creative projects to life. That's what it is. So in other words, bringing out, empowering them to be all they can be, not just, look up to me because I'm the coach, know your place kind of thing. He's empowering every individual. He has a deep regard for the relatedness of all things. He feels an allegiance with the earth, with spirit, with his country, with his group, with work and individuals. When I was writing this, I was crying. It just made me so happy to, after all this we've been through, to just, these two people, I couldn't be happier with who we have to help us. And I was going to look, there's more to say about her, but I wanted to look at some of the symbolism on the card. And it also says that it's the keys for success and happiness to the Empress are clarity, naturalness, and satisfaction. I think he speaks very clearly. He is totally natural, and he gives us lots of satisfaction. It's my experience. And if we look at the card, you see on the way over on the right-hand side, it doesn't look blue, but there's actually a waterfall that's coming from around those trees, and it's pooling at her feet. And that indicates the flow forward and the bond with the wellspring, both equally important. So in other words, you're honoring the source and, where the destination kind of at the same time. And keep in mind, I'm thinking of the Temperance card, and we'll go back to that later, but this reminds me of that card. The sunny background, see how it's all yellow in the background? He lights up the other side. A reliable awareness. I mean, the idea that they even talk about this, the other side, because we have so much other, we know how we feel and whatever, and we know that those other people will wake up, but we need people in power that are going to reach out and be able to help them find their way, because they're going to need help.
Yeah.
The scepter, her wand that she's holding, and there's a little ball at the top there. And then if you go and look down at the bottom of the sign of Venus that I mentioned before, that combines the circle and the cross, and that sun and earth, soul and body, the unification of sense and the senses. So one of the things the Empress says, where sense and sensibility are given a chance to develop, love can grow, and with it, the beauty of being. I mean, I just think this is just gorgeous.
Yeah. Beautiful energy. Everybody's talking about joy warriors.
Oh, my God. Isn't that great? And there's a shield right there. And the Venus shield, there's a joy warrior shield sitting right at his feet, her feet.
And it's a heart. Barbara says, I saw a picture of Tim with the Dalai Lama. The energy was amazing. I love that. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So the gray heart there that the Venus symbol is on, it means a great heart, calmly unprejudiced. It says all creatures and all impulses have a chance and a raison d'existence, so a reason for living. I mean, just how nice that, it's just such a breath of fresh air to have someone see on a bigger scale and someone beyond their own skin, so to speak. Let's see. Okay, new page. Sorry, guys, I don't have this all memorized. Believe it or not, I have to read it. Okay.
No, it's good.
Okay, so although he can be very regal and commanding, he feels he can sway others best through love. I mean, what a revelation. The Obamas made me feel that way.
Yeah.
But that's the only other people that I've ever really felt in office that, in that position that I felt so much love coming from. And I feel that again with um, Kamala and Tim. And his primary task is to make connections. And you were talking about that. You mentioned connections and what you saw from him this morning, right?
Yeah, I really do. And I agree with you. The Obamas were like that. They brought in, like they did that train ride when they
Mhm.
went in to, for him to be sworn in. And, they had people from every walk of life. I had one of my girlfriends, her family was on that train. And it's like, they're both social workers. So it's just
Wow.
like, it was a beautiful thing that they brought all these people in,
Wow.
not
I
just
love it.
movie stars.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And paid actors,
Yeah,
you know.
billionaires.
And
Yeah.
also with this card, when you mentioned you saw the golden light and all that, and here's the Empress. Look at all that golden light
Oh,
backing up the
wow.
Empress.
Yeah.
So also, through your creative imagination, you find new solutions that bring people and things together. And he has a strong sense of reality. Can you imagine that? Having a strong sense of reality these days. Okay, so hang on while I'm looking. Let's see, what's our
Okay.
next slide, if you
Are
don't
you
mind.
ready for it?
Yeah, we may
Okay.
go back and forth, but
Yeah,
I
no
wanted
worries.
everybody to be able to see the symbolism.
Oh, it's the
So
numbers.
yeah, so
Yeah.
the other day, or when I did the show with Valerie, I think it was last week. I lost track of time, guys. Sorry, but Kamala's personality and her soul cards both are the Hierophant. America's cards, her based on her birth date and her name, is also a 5. So that's the Hierophant. So look at how aligned she is with America. I mean,
Wow.
I got chills when I figured that out. And then Tim's personality card is the Empress, is the 3. You add it up to 8, the Strength card. And we are in the 888 Lionsgate, and the Lionsgate portal opened a few days before. It isn't just today. It opened a few days, like it was open when they did that first rally, that when they announced Tim. And so I just, when all of that was coming together, and a friend of mine did point out that it was 888 on top of the other. It's like, and thank you for them to show that. It's like, it's just, how can you poo-poo this? It's just fantastic, I think. It all adds up. So I wanted to read a little bit about the Strength card. And I didn't have the picture of it, but we're focused more on the purpose of it right now, the meaning. So Strength's courage is grace under pressure, and that is something quoted loosely from Hemingway. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, but it was attributed to him. And of course, 8 is the Leo, the stand up and roar and be protective and beautiful. And so have the courage of your connections and acknowledging the power within. Strength represents the balance and integration of opposites. So here we go again, bringing those opposites back together again. Like the magician, the woman on the Strength card has the lemniscate over her head. I don't know why I didn't put this slide up, but anyway, we'll get through it. In the lemniscate, that's just an 8 that it's tipped on its side, right? That infinity symbol. And you'll see it on the magician also. And it's also on, okay, guys, what's the other card that the lemniscate is on? I'll leave that out for somebody to get back to us. A little trivia. Okay. So she is the female magician, sometimes called the enchantress, because of her ability to charm the beasts and animals. And don't we need to charm some beasts and animals right now? So this is their energy together again, everybody. This is what they bring when they join their energies. Her power to do this comes from a recognition of the similarities in their nature rather than the differences. Again, bringing people together by looking at, you're my neighbor, before going, I don't like the color of your overalls, thinking about the, people on farms and stuff. It isn't about their Chanel bag or whatever. So the Strength card, the woman on the Strength card, emphasizes how we can accomplish anything we set our minds on. Start again. She exemplifies how we can accomplish anything we set our minds to by acknowledging our lineage with the world and working in harmony with its principles. Strength represents being attuned to nature, not denying it. Here we go. We're going to have some help with this climate change stuff finally.
Yeah, and Judy says it's the Two of Pentacles.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, yeah, he's juggling. That's right. Because he's hanging on to that money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to see what else I have. But yeah, there's other. Let's see. I don't know if what was the last card I had? I think it was maybe on his name. I looked the last slide.
Oh, the last slide that you've got up here.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
Okay, so we add up Tim's name. Okay, so you can do it by your birth name, and you can do it. You can play around with it different ways, and you can do it with your maiden name, your married name, the name you choose, with or without your middle name. But if I do it based on Tim Walz, it adds up to the Temperance card, and this is Kamala's Hidden Factor card. They are so aligned and so joined. And here again, here's what I was talking about with on the Empress card with the water flow back and forth. They're balancing that water back and forth, and there's 1 foot on land and 1 foot in the water. So that's like being in reality, and then also dealing with the subconscious and things like that. So I don't know. I'm just so excited after I read this. Like there's no negative cards in these at all when I do and I mean, it goes on. We can look at, I don't have the slides up, but I can talk about it if you want, but I don't want to monopolize the.
Well, I wanted to bring in a question that Cody had. He said, this begs the question, does belief channel energy into the cards, or does it come from the entities we work with? And where is the truth?
I think it comes from both.
Yeah.
It's like anything. If we focus on, so in a lot of cultures, a cross is very symbolic. Well, it's symbolic because, all the energy that has been put into it, years and years and years of the belief system. These are more than just images on a flat piece of paper. The more you study them and if you work with them. When I was really alone and having a hard time, I discovered that if I would sit down, if I was really feeling out of sorts and I picked up one of my decks of cards and did a reading, it was like the best therapy session I could ever have. I would write things out. I took time, even if all I could do was just write was already written in the book, but that really helped me integrate it. And then I got to where, now I can relate it to things in my life. And it helped me to understand how to read the cards, but it also helped me understand myself better. And looking at, why does that trigger me? That triggers me because it's showing me something in myself that I don't like or I want to work on. There's so many ways, but
yeah, and that's a really good way. I think those growth opportunities that we get, where something happens and we're up against a wall, or something happens in our life that gives us a reset, and then we do reach for something. And Cody, I think everybody reaches for something different, right? We're all drawn to something different. Tarot is not, I love watching people read, and I play with tarot cards. I'm better with oracle cards because the way my brain works, or just channeling. But I think everybody has a different way in which they express, just like your senses, right? Some people hear songs in their head. Some people receive visions. Some people hear different hurts, and so there's all different ways that we do it.
And but some people hear music by that it's a color. You know what I mean? I think they're called synesthetes or something. They have synesthesia where there's all these different ways that things are experienced. And who are we to say they're right or wrong? That's how their body functions in the world, what their sensitivities are.
Yeah.
And I really encourage people, your imagination it's something that you can improve the more you use it. Let your imagination go wild. What are you hurting? As long as you're living in reality enough to, keep your bills paid and function like you have to do that. Let that imagination go, because I have found that that's the key to really improving my psychic abilities, is to let the imagination go, because that's how the angels and the guides and the celestials and the galactics, that's how they can communicate with us, through our imagination. They can't sit down. I mean, I know occasionally people get messages on their computer or their phone or something, but typically that's not how they interact with us. They do it through our imagination. So if you're really wanting to improve your psychic abilities or feel more in tune just for your own benefit, because that's where it all starts, let
Yeah.
your imagination go, because that's what opens the door. When spirit sees, oh, she or he has let their imagination open up, let's give her, now let's, now we can talk to her, him, her, they, you know. So just
Yeah.
give it a try. And I know it's been really helpful for me to do that in my life.
It is, isn't it? And Ness is talking about she has synesthesia. I can't
Oh,
pronounce that. Yeah, very
synesthesia.
similar to psychic abilities. It is, and we all sense things differently. I was reading an article about this the other day, and scientists now say that we have 50 senses
Hmm.
instead of the 5.
We used to
And
have, I heard, like, we used to have like 1,000. I
I,
mean,
I
like a fantastical number that you can't even imagine, but we've either
and
evolved away from it, or pushed it down, or denied
yeah,
it, right?
yeah, sure we have. Sure we have. The ego has pushed it down. Oh, you can't hear that color, whatever. I mean, how many of us when we were told when we were young, oh, you can't see an angel or you can't fly in the sky. But and I feel like as the light gets brighter and the veil gets thinner, we're all going to have those senses coming back in. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it's going to feel a little weird, and you're going to question it a lot,
Yeah.
and if you think, okay, so this little serendipitous thing happened, was that real, or was it my imagination? So ask for some validation. And I have found the more I ask for validation, the more validation I get. And sometimes
Mhm.
I get validation before I even end the thought of I would like validation. It's like, well, it's right here. It's an amazing process, and that helps you build your confidence that you can do this. That there are other entities, other beings, other energies that we can access. It takes us a while to get over that. Is this really happening? Is this real? Or um, I've never been happier until I've really been able to fling open this door in the last few years and finding this community, instead of feeling like, well, I can't talk about this to anybody, or
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
paint something on my door, and
That's it. I feel like if you're finding a sense of joy and curiosity at the same time, like you just can't stop learning about something,
Mhm.
in a good way, not in a way that you can't see anything else, perhaps. But anyway, it's definitely a sign. Cody has another great question or,
Yes.
or observation. I think it's possible we are on different timelines and realities that are crossing over each other. So different perspectives are shown because the one reading is seeing their reality timeline.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely, Cody. Definitely. And it's interesting. A lot of times, you know, readers are people and they have egos in this lifetime while they're in the physical. And a lot of people do read with their ego. I
Mhm.
don't think there's a whole lot of them that do it consciously, but it does feed in. And I always when I'm doing readings, you'll hear me say, "This is Teri, your girlfriend, or Teri, your friend, saying this, and this is Teri, my
Excellent.
intuition, saying that." Um, and I'll always preface it because there are some things that I know from experience and some things that spirit's feeding in. And the
Mhm.
timelines, we just topped a timeline.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah,
you can't doubt it.
we all saw that Joe was gonna, bow out. He was not going to do the last 4 years, the
Yeah,
whole 4 years, and Kamala was coming in.
and
And I saw him
just
bowing
think
out and
about
coming
how,
back.
if the energy towards him would have been, if he hadn't bound out and then we lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is so much better all the way around. And don't get me wrong, I love Joe, and I
yeah,
honor what he did, but I think that it was difficult. And I think that this is just my opinion. And I didn't even watch. I only heard about what certain people had said, this and that, to kind of push him out. But I think that looking at that, Spirit showed me from a bigger perspective that it was like, look, we were on a path of it going this way. And so sometimes in order for difficult change to happen, we've got to be pushed, and I don't think those people were doing it maybe for that conscious reason, but the result was it had to get ugly enough that to force this shift to happen is how I see that. They played a role too, so don't vilify them. I mean, you're entitled to have your opinions and whatever, but they all played their role too in because I think that maybe, this is just me guessing, that there were people, in a soft and gentle way trying to make that happen, this needed shift happen, but it wasn't happening. So other things had to come up, had to be made uncomfortable so that the result was really what needed to happen, because it wasn't happening when everybody was being nice to each other. Let's face it,
Yeah. Well, it's there's agents of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think everybody knows there's a lot of agents of change and chaos going on all around the planet, right? And that is changing. Everybody has to stop. They have to reconfigure. They have to look at things in a new and different way. Yeah. Because if it's, if they've been using pesticides and plastics and our government knew about it, who are we? If Big Pharma's been giving these drugs out and the government knew about it, then who are we? So how do we look at things differently and change it so that it's for a sense of community and not a sense of who's going to be the next billionaire?
Yeah.
So it does change things, and also change it not with hatred, but with, I want to do this because I love everybody around me, or most of that. So it's really interesting. Bright Shiny Ray, the timing of the change was seriously brilliant after the MC convention, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely after the convention and right before the necessary moment, at the perfect timing.
Exactly.
It was synchronistic. And I know Joe had that plan somewhere in his head. It might not have been in his conscious head,
right?
But his higher consciousness, bam, this is it. Push that button right now. Yeah.
I agree. And and we would have never had so much enthusiasm from the youth and, all these other groups of people without this change. And, it's difficult, but what a hero to do that. I have nothing but good things to say about just how it all happened. And we deserve a change. And I just love that whoever came up with "we're not going back" is a genius.
Yeah. And the weird.
Yeah.
Weird. So weird and gross. Yeah. Cody, no matter the outcome, it's important to know that we are collectively steering the boat for a greater good of our souls. Yeah. Because we are all in this together. It doesn't matter which side we're on, right? Mm-hmm. And even the people that are agents of change, we are one. Exactly. So if they're like that, that's a part of us. And that non-judgmental, how hard is that on this planet when you have this conscious mind, but in the ego, but we can't really judge them about it. We just have to move on.
And with what Cody said there about steering the boat, a lot of times, and I got this from Abraham Hicks, where they talk about, drop the oars. When you get in the water, drop the oars. Don't try to paddle upstream or over here or whatever. Drop the oars and float. But Spirit told me the other day but you still have a rudder. And that goes to what Cody said about we're steering the boat. We don't have to paddle it, but we can steer it, right? We can give it some guidance. And I think about the Chariot card, where in many of the Chariot cards, the charioteer he's not holding any reins. He's not forcing those horses or sphinxes or whatever characters are on there. He's using his mind and his energy to get them to move. He's not forcing them through a whip and reins and that kind of thing. So
right.
And I think I keep hearing, and I've heard this for the last several years, the best way to get through what we're going through is stay flexible and adaptable.
Ride that wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the
It's
way it was because it's not in our best interest for it to be the way it was.
right. And when we change the way that we think and the way we say things and change our light codes, it changes what we see and it
It does.
changes our world. So you can be living in a completely different density than somebody next to you, even in your home or
Mhm.
somebody next door or somebody in the next state over.
Mhm.
Their truth is different than your truth.
Mhm.
That's one thing I learned, and it really shocked me that someone else's truth, they believe that, and they believe that what we're doing is wrong and will hurt their family.
Right.
And you can believe in something completely different, and it will be your truth.
Mhm.
And that way, it's so hard to judge people, isn't it? But
Well, there's a
yeah,
difference between discernment and judgment. You know,
yeah,
judgment is not for us. Discernment, that's making good choices.
yeah,
Choice and judgment are, you know, different things. They're related, but the outcomes and the application of them are different. I watched this silly show. I like British TV, and I watched this show called QI, and it's kind of like a panel quiz show kind of thing, and it's got comedians. You know, it's lighthearted. And one of the things that they said was, I can't remember the percentage, but a large percentage of things, and I'm not talking about alternative facts. You know, I'm just talking about things that we normal people accept as regular facts. Over time, a great percentage of those change. You know,
hmm,
things that we thought were true. Like, look at how they used to say, you know, whatever food it was, that's the next great thing to eat. And then they find out years later, oh, well, no, that wasn't it, you know. So, what we think of as fact, you know, don't be so dug in on facts that you're hurting yourself in a way, you
yeah.
know.
It's another form of judging, isn't it?
It
Being
is.
flexible
Yeah.
and having intention. So there are these 4 soul questions
Mhm.
that you guys hear me a lot in meditation asking, and we ask ourselves, and it's who am I, or what am I? It's the same thing. Um, what is my purpose? Your dharma. What are you here to do? Like your intention.
Mhm.
What do you want? And what are you grateful for?
Mhm.
And what are you grateful for is always the last part of it because that elevates everything.
Nice.
Being grateful and bringing in grace.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Ness says, I feel it in my bones, spirit. Kamala will be present. I'm looking at hotels right now for the inauguration.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Yay. I
how
mean, they had to
fun.
open up an airplane hangar for that, you know, and people were, they had people, they showed people in lines for miles that were waiting, or, you know, looked like miles, or people had to walk 2 miles, literally. They had to park it, they had to walk 2 miles and then stand in line to even get in. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of, that's just a lot of excitement. And I also love the way Kamala handles people who are hecklers or whatever. Um, she's, I just think so. That, you know, I never feel like, oh, these two, can they handle this coming up or that coming up? They've already got it answered before it's been asked. You know, they're so prepared, and they're such quick thinkers, and they come from the heart. And I want a president that dances like that. That's all I have to say.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be nice to see what this looks like because I feel like it is a higher vibration. And I
Mhm.
feel like even the way they look physically looks more like the population of the United States.
Doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he was in what they did, he was a teacher, he was in the
It was a coach
reserves.
too,
Yeah,
you know,
and a
all
coach.
of that.
And
And they've been through, they had IVF to have their children. I mean,
yeah,
they're, you know, these people have been through stuff. And how when Carla was growing up, she had to go through the busing thing. You know, they've been through stuff. These aren't people who had a golden toilet. And
yeah,
hallelujah for that.
yeah. That stare, right, Julie? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Because Cody, I work with some really high vibe people, so I guarantee it's not a high low vibration things. All possibilities exist and all are real. Right, Cody. And we are all right where we're supposed to be. There is no judgment on the other side. You know, there isn't. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I love this. A reason to smile again after a dark cloud. Let's dance. I think,
I was watching Brian Tyler Cohen when I was watching the first rally. I really liked
mhm,
him, and he was just sitting there going, "Damn!" Like his exclamations were just like, he didn't talk over what was going on, but he was saying what I was feeling, and I don't normally respond, do a live chat and something like that, but I remember one of the things I said was, feels good after I can finally exhale. And that this is how I want every now moment to feel, with just that sense of excitement, enthusiasm, and joy that these two people brought. And it was just really cool. I'm so glad that, and I wasn't even aware. I just happened to I knew they were going to be on sometime. I wasn't even tracking the time, and I was so glad that I ran across it and been able to watch them. And then I had to go lay down for a while. I was so excited. I mean, I live in a very red trailer park and we're close together. I was hooting and hollering, and I thought, well, they're going to know what I'm watching. I had it cranked up really, and I don't normally do that, And I was just like, man, I'm going to rock and roll with these people. This is amazing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and I don't really care, people don't like me. Things are shifting, and I'm going to stand in that power.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
No, that's
right.
not what we're saying, though.
Yeah, not at all, Leslie.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
she
not
just
saying no
misunderstood.
judgment means no discernment. You can dislike everything they do. You can write a letter and get that out, and you can have rage about it. Um, and you can be angry about it and write it down. I mean, call them every word in the
Right.
book and release it. Let it go.
Yeah,
Don't hold
because the
on to it.
judgment
Watch
is
it.
only hurting you in the long run. The discernment is almost like having boundaries, and you know what they say: hating others is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
Yeah.
It's not
And
going to happen.
and swallowing your
Yeah,
anger
exactly.
or your pain or your that's another thing that'll make us sick, right?
Yeah.
It's like swallowing poison too. There's it's okay, so in Chopra we call this witnessing awareness, where you're at a point and it's kind of the in between, and that can be like in lightness and darkness, that can be in all sorts of different things. It has a really nice turn to it. The in between, where you're watching things happen, you're
Mhm.
watching them with awareness. You can be compassionate about what's happening, as in you can have feel for other people. You can feel for their pain, and you can feel for anger against somebody that is being horrible to somebody else. And I'm going to say right now, if they're being horrible to somebody you love, that's a whole nother ball game. That's
Yeah.
the mama
Yeah.
bear that comes
Yeah.
out and the daddy
There's
bear.
always caveats to these things,
Yeah, yeah,
exceptions to the rule.
right, right. And but then you're gonna if you can watch that stuff and with witnessing awareness and not be tied to it
Right. Observe
and
and
not
don't
weigh
absorb.
you down.
Right.
Yeah,
Just be
yeah,
a witness.
right. I no, I'm not trying to be angry and sometimes successful, but why would anyone choose hate over love,
Right.
division over unity, fear over hope?
Yeah. Good
That's where
question.
we're headed, Leslie.
Yeah.
That is the perfect question. I love that.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. That's where we're headed, and that's where people are coming to. And I think they'll come there when there's more joy and more community, and as they see that we all have something in common. Probably most of us love our families and we want the best for our families, or there's somebody that we love. It might
Mhm.
be an animal,
Mhm.
it might be a piece of art, it might be, but there's something about us
Mhm.
that we have in common. And as that comes about, because there's been division, and the division is what keeps us here on this planet at 3D division. So, yeah, not on your radio. Love
Yeah.
that, Sonia.
Yeah.
Not on your radio. Yeah. Yeah.
garbage in, garbage out, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. And that was an old computer thing. In other words, what you put in is what you're going
Yeah.
to get out. And if you're going to watch, do doom scrolling or whatever they call it, that it's not going to help you. It's okay to, I microdose the news, and sometimes all I need is the headline, and I think, okay, that's enough. I'm real careful of the sources. Every now and then I'll watch something just to see, okay, yeah, it really is that bad. It's like when you open the door going, is it really that hot outside? Oh yeah, it's still, the sandworms are still out there, like Beetlejuice, like shut the door. And
Yeah.
then other times, like, it's okay to go out and deal with things.
Yeah. Yeah. The road to Shambhala. It's like a mantra, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that song too, Diana.
Yeah. I love that. Microdose the news. That's going to be a new one. I
Yeah,
love that.
what's about all I can handle, even
Yeah.
if it's delivered through sources that I like, and and like, I like to watch Midas Touch or Brian Tyler Cohen, but when they start to get kind of elevated, it's like, okay, they're getting emotional. I got what I needed, I know the facts, quote unquote, I know the detail, I got the deets, and it's time to, time to put some music on and wave my arms in the air, or kick my feet up, or pet my dog or something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I find it's interesting. In 2016, I think no one in my family realized that we come from a huge Catholic family, and like we were all tied as anything when we were young, and we still are, and we have family reunions every year, and everybody has a great time together, but we didn't realize that we had a separation with politics. It had never come up, ever. We were all, we love our families, we love each other. We try to do the best we can for everybody. And all of a sudden, oh, there's differences. And that was interesting to watch. And there was also, at the same time, there was social media that was feeding the fire, right? And
Yeah.
and we were Americans. We didn't know from that that's happened in other countries for generations. That media is bringing in
Propaganda, yeah, how they use
propaganda.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had no idea what that was. And it's nice because this year at our family reunion, everybody came. There was no talk of anything. Everybody was loving. We're back. It's like we kind of gave that up. And I know that some of them are still voting Republican, and they know that I'm a Democrat and a woo-woo on top of it.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, is that who I'm talking to? I gotta go.
I know.
How do we delete this video? No,
Yeah. So it's interesting that this year it was just about love. And I feel like
yeah.
that's where we're headed.
And I love hearing so many people saying, I'm claiming this back. I'm claiming back my American flag. I'm claiming back this phrase or this song or that song. They can't have this anymore. No, no, no. I love hearing that, because I just feel like they've co-opted and dirtied so much of the things that we hold very sacred.
Yeah.
And a lot, to the point where I would cringe just seeing an American flag, and now I feel like, no, that's my flag. You can't have that. You can't take that away from us. And I really feel like Kamala and Tim are going to bring all that joy back. And they already are. I mean, they're not going to. They're already doing it. And man, talk about hitting the ground running. Holy moly,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm relieved, and I'm proud, and I'm optimistic, and things I haven't been since 2015, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like we've come almost full circle, and that everybody's back together again somewhat.
Well, it's like when you make a change like that, you can't do a hairpin turn, because people will get thrown off. You know what I mean? Like those something, the entropy or whatever, not entropy, but it'll throw you off. Or you need the curve. It's we're on that curve and we're rounding it, but the curve is things happen in time. They don't just whiplash your neck kind of change. So, because that's not good for anybody when it changes that quick.
Yeah.
But the train is going in the other direction.
And I love this, Ness. Yeah, it's interesting. Future is female, while also inviting men on that role to take on. And when I see the divine feminine now, I see her giving birth to a new world, and I see Father Sky, the divine masculine, holding space for her, protecting and keeping things right. So I feel like now we're in that in between, that witnessing awareness, where the divine feminine and the divine masculine are going to be working together. Yeah, the big dad energy of Waltz.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he's the Empress card, though. I mean, how perfect. He embodies the masculine and the feminine. And so does Kamala. She's very, she's got a lot of masculine traits too. She's strong and she speaks up. And, for a woman, I was really impressed by her her ability to vocally project. I know there's microphones and stuff, but you could hear her. She was not any shrinking violet by any means. She got her message out there.
Oh, yeah. She's going to let you know. Diana says, genius, Juno. It is a curve. You have to keep your eye on where you want to be. Otherwise, we crash.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I grew up south of Buffalo, New York, and we used to go to this place in Canada called Crystal Beach, Ontario. It was just over the border, and it had this one of those big old wooden roller coasters. It was right on Lake Erie and all these other cool, fun house and all kinds of stuff. But they had this ride called the Wild Mouse, and it was like if you took a roller coaster, but you just did it all in a square. Okay, It was literally a square, and you went up and you would do these at those right angles. It would just, no wonder I got back problems from riding that thing, because it just would jolt you at that corner. And that's another thing. You don't want to have that sharp corner. We have to do things with ease and grace. And, we're rooting out all the ugly stuff. We're really finding out the uglies of the uglies and getting those dust bunnies out from under our bed.
Yeah.
Spraying some, putting some nice fresh sage under there. You know what I mean? Getting it all nice and...
Yeah, and I love that you say that, Juno, because I feel like as we clean all that out and become aware of it, we've jumped timelines. Mm-hmm. Like it could have been, how many people saw the poles changing, the South and the North. Edgar Casey, there were so many intuitives that had talked about that in the last 30, 40 years. And now it's changed. And also saw a lot of chaos around the world. And we'll still have some, obviously, with climate change and whatnot. And we're having volcanic activity and earthquakes and whatnot. It's not going to be what it was going to be, you guys.
Yeah, so don't expect it to be. Then you won't be as disappointed, Yeah, don't sit on a thistle and whine. I heard that phrase a long time ago, and I always stuck with me,
Yeah, it's changed. We are on a higher frequency already, and it's because of you guys.
Well, it's all of us. All of us holding faith. You know what? I think it speaks very highly of all of us. Add a girl to all of, add a boy, whatever, add a they, I don't know. That we all, through these darkest days that we have experienced in our lifetimes, we still come on and we talk about find the joy, find the happiness. It's out there. It's out there. It's coming. It's coming. And now look. Lion's Gate opened up, and look at the beautiful creatures that beings that have come through that Lion's Gate. And I also feel like the whole world, when that happened, when she announced and had that great rally and everything, I think the whole world sphincter relaxed a little bit. I think everybody, those on the light side were like, finally, because what did they say? When America gets a cold, or when America sneezes, the whole world gets a cold. Right. So when we have a trouble, the whole world feels it. And I feel like that's a lot of energy, global energy to have shifted. And you can't stop this freight train, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
I agree. I think things are changing faster than anybody saw it happening. And it's exciting because there are a lot of intuitives that saw some stuff coming up. And I think we're kind of on a different dimension already and walking in that light.
I think we're still going to have challenges and, bumps in the road. But if you can do it and you feel you've got some joy in your heart, you're going to be able to handle those bumps a whole lot better than if you're just full of fear. Because fear makes you tense. And you know what it's like if you're going down the road in a car with a really stiff suspension. It's like you feel every bump. If If you
Yeah.
got one of those diner rides, you know, you got some joy going there. You got some joy juice in those wheels. You can handle those bumps a lot easier. You don't
Yeah.
feel like just a horrible thing.
Yeah. Waltzing through the portal. I
Yep.
love that.
I love it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the waltz step. Is a 1, 2, 3.
Oh, good
Right?
one. Yeah, I love that. Well, gosh, Juno, thank you so much. This was so interesting, you guys. If you want to get a hold of Juno, how would they do that, Juno, for
You
a
can
reading?
email me at junosees, SEES, at gmail.com. And I do have my channel, Juno Spear 3333. You can leave me a comment there. I have a lot of videos. I did one a couple of years ago on the Lionsgate portal. I'd love it if you haven't watched it. That's a really good video that you can go back and watch. It's in my community tab, like just right near the top, the link for it if you guys want to go back and watch that. But yeah, I'm doing lots and lots of things. So I appreciate all you guys, and thank you, Teri, so much. This is really exciting for me, and it was I couldn't wait to share this with everybody. That I think this is good news for all of us.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Yeah, thank you, moderators and
Yeah,
chatters. Thank you,
definitely.
everyone, for being here.
Yeah.
And where will you be next, Juno? Where can they find
The only show that
you?
I know I have coming up is every month on the third Sunday, I think it is, I do a show with Sherry, Voices from the Swamp. But if anybody's looking for some collabs, I'd be open to doing that too. And, I don't want to get deep into politics, yucky stuff, but if we want to talk about this kind of thing on the upper end of it, I'm happy to contribute there. And
Yeah.
I got lots of other things. I'm starting the new series with crystals. I've got one out on amethyst and one on black tourmaline. I love it if you guys would check that out. And there's more in the works. So we have thunderstorms every afternoon here, like that starts about noon, and it's a lot of lightning. And so I totally shut down my equipment because I got zapped through my cell phone one time, and I was deaf in my one ear through my Bluetooth piece. So I have a lot less time on the internet right now, but bear with me. Things are still coming.
Good.
But I appreciate you guys.
Good. All right, everybody. Well, have a great 888, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be here for meditation. And then Callie Healer is going to be on from India, coming to us again.
Ooh, wow.
I know, I'm so excited. And then Allie will be here. Saturday, if anybody's interested, we are doing the healing ceremony with Debbie Freeberg, Kevin Lewis, Lisa Smith, and JJ Tutas Speaks. It is a Zoom event. It's incredible. Those of you that have been there, people cry as we're leaving.
It was amazing.
I cry.
Yeah, it was powerful. It took me a few days to assimilate it all, but it was great.
People had changes coming in for days, you guys. So if you're interested, it's a $5 love offering. There are scholarships. That is not required. So if you have time, I think it starts at 4:30 Pacific, but it's on my community page.
So what day is that, Teri?
It's on Saturday the 10th.
Okay. I'd like to participate. The last one was just mind-boggling. Oh, really good. Really, really good.
Thanks.
And Lisa Smith talked about kaleidoscopes, and I had to write to her afterwards and said, that was when I was doing my mindless videos, and they were almost all kaleidoscopes. And, when things come up like that, you feel like, oh, that message is just for me. It's really cool. So.
Well, that's funny because that's what I'm seeing in our heart chakras now, our kaleidoscopes.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer just green or pink or purple.
All those little different pieces, but as you move it, they change and they make another beautiful pattern. And then you move it a little and change, and it's another beautiful pattern. So
yeah, it's beautiful. All right, now I will say goodbye. Goodbye.
Okay. Thanks again, Teri.